the direwolves have officially been brought back from extinction in 2025. Well, okay, there's a lot of misinformation going around, so let's start with the positives and then the negatives. So let's start off with what the direwolf is. The direwolf is larger than living wolves with a larger skull to body ratio and were extinct 10,000 years ago. It is in the genus Anachion, so a different genus than the modern wolves, being Canis lupus, and roamed from the US and the western areas of South America, and competed with large predators like Smilodon and terror birds. However, have been more successful than the other predators, having a large size and demonstrating pack behavior. So let's talk about the new direwolves cloned today. These wolves are adorable and beautiful. They have large manes, which may just be these direwolves or the true Adiris, and have larger than proportional head size to body size, which we know the true Anachion dirus had. Also, the white fur may be accurate, but due to the large span of the direwolf's environment, they probably had multiple different colours. So let's see how these were made. A direwolf skull was discovered and DNA was extracted. So they examined the genes of the direwolf and compared them to modern grey wolves. And they modified the grey wolf's genes with 14 changed. So these are the closest thing to direwolves in the past 10,000 years. But are these true direwolves? No. There are dozens of different genes, so 14 doesn't change much, but it is still an amazing discovery. Colossal Bioscience claims that we should use morphological species concept by using physical traits to define a species, but this is not supported by a large portion of the science community. We mainly use biological species concept, depending on if they can make viable offspring and have different DNA strands to others. Using morphological species concept, yes, these are true direwolves to an extent, but these are not supported by a large portion of the scientific community. The direwolf is in the genus Anachion, while grey wolves and domesticated dogs are in Canis. So introducing an entirely new genus into an environment without them for 10,000 years will have some negative effects on the environment. These animals cannot be released in the wild. No large food source could support a pack of direwolves for a population. They could hunt moose and bison like they did 10,000 years ago. But modern wolves have already increased in body size since the direwolf's extinction for larger prey, like moose and bison. If they bring back the woolly mammoth, that can give them a reason to release both into the wild for a predator and prey relationship, but still, these animals should never be released in the wild in America. So let's talk about the woolly mice that by Colossal Bioscience. They claim they infused woolly mammoth DNA into the mice, but these are just genetically modified mouse with no mammoth DNA. Most people find this as a negative thing, however, this can improve agriculture. It took 10,500 years to get cows like we know them today. We now know we could do this instantly to get the best genes for their purpose, for more milk and meat, honey and eggs. And we could do the same thing with plants with this new technology. And this new technology, we could use it to clone endangered animals that have low chances of increasing their population. The Yangtze giant soft-shell turtle, over 1.8 meters long, and is the largest freshwater turtle. With a population of 3 and maybe 2, there is one in captivity, which is a male with a broken penis, and possibly 1 or 2 females in the wild. The vaquita is the smallest whale species, just over a meter long, with a population of 8 to 13, by accidentally being caught in fishing nets. Colossal Bioscience is also trying to genetically modify native Australian mammals to be immune to the invasive cane toad poison, which is helping endangered mammals and reptiles. I think the most important animal to bring back is the Tasmanian tiger, also known as the thylacine. Tasmania needs an apex predator. Without one, diseases run rampant, like mange, severely damaging the ecosystem. And next week will be a video on the thylacines that could have invaded North America and established itself as an invasive species. If I had to pick an animal to bring back for an ecosystem, is the Voya robustus, one of the last largely terrestrial crocodilians. Who could have guessed that Voya robustus was robust, weighing 170 kilos and 4 meters long. The Voya went extinct 1,500 years ago, and possibly more recent, and people claim they see living ones, but these have not yet to be confirmed. However, the Nile crocodiles of Madagascar do have larger bony knobs on their head than the mainland Nile crocodiles. Maybe the Voyas have bred with the Nile crocodiles in the caves of Madagascar. Nicknamed the horned crocodile, this would become the largest land predator, feeding on lemurs, dwarf hippo, if it still lives. No living specimens have been found, but newer bones have been found. And rumors of Colossal Bioscience gonna bring back the elephant bird and moa. Poaching is still a large problem in Madagascar. But I think with a nearly 200 kilogram land croc would make people think twice about it. But hey, people still hunt elephants and Cape buffalo. So I don't know if this would make much of a difference. The closest living relative is the Cuban crocodile, who is known to gallop on land for hunting. However, it is unlikely for it to be cloned, and I believe these efforts should go into endangered living species, like the aforementioned giant soft-shelled turtle and vaquita. Remember to like, comment, and subscribe, and stay tuned for more paleontology news.